Hello and welcome to Beemgee, the character and plot development tool. We start off in the character area where you enter your first character and then develop this character in the character developer, which means that you'll be answering a series of questions. Please answer these as succinctly as you possibly can. If you're not entirely sure what the question means or how to answer it succinctly, then there's always the little question mark above. Click that and you'll get an explanation in the tool, and if that's not enough for you, then you can click the More About button, and that will take you to our resource which explains a lot about every aspect of storytelling. Back in the tool, in the overview, you have all your characters that you've developed, and you can compare them attribute by attribute, which is a great help in making contrast between these characters, the basis for conflict, which you will probably need for your story to really work on an emotional level. In the overview, you can hide the attributes of characters you don't need. And by clicking on the magnifying glass over the character card, you get to the character sheet, which is an invaluable resource, which you can of course export as a PDF, which is really helpful when you're actually writing your story, because it'll tell you everything about the plot. So character motivations make character actions, and that means plot. Organizing the plot is a big challenge. It means you have a lot of scene ideas, and scene ideas need a lot of information. So in the plot developer, you can create cards, and you can make these cards colorful, and you can add a lot of information to these different cards. You can sort them in the narrative order or in the chronological order, and at first they appear in the timeline view, which is good for making structure markers. In the corkboard view, you can use the narrative and chronological sort order too, and you can drag and drop your cards into both orders. But it's in the timeline view that you add all your information to your scene cards. And that means adding all the characters that take part in each scene, storylines, motifs, also point of view, and a whole load of other things, which you can also then highlight or filter. So that shows you either highlighted in either view, the corkboard or the timeline, all the highlighted cards that you've selected, and you can also filter that to work on just one character, for example, or just one storyline, for example. Now, one bit of information you really want to add to each scene card is the description, which is a detailed description of what happens in this scene event. And the benefit of doing this is that it actually comes out in the narrative order in the step outline. Now, the step outline section is basically for pitching your project. You've got the entire description here in the narrative sort order, editable of course, but you've got much more than that, because you also see the cards in the whole view, or all the information that you've added to all these different scene events. Now, story information, not just to do with your plot, but with the entire story as a whole, you add in the step outline section too. So that's things like conflict or genre or setting, also the blurb and the synopsis of your entire story. Export the treatment as a text document, or export everything that you've developed, so your entire story, as a text document, so you've got a manuscript document which contains everything you've developed. Beemgee, your story.